Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Pleased to stand and discuss the capital estimates for 2022-23. And based on what I've seen here this morning in regards to the announcement and some of the numbers, seems to be a pretty good balance between, the future fiscal state of the province, ensuring that long-term New Brunswick doesn't continue to increase its debt and deficit, but seems to strike a balance for some of the needed capital infrastructure that is desperately needed. I see there's a $78 million increase over last year with that budget, and I was pleased to see that, in my riding of Fredericton Grand Lake, that Chipman, the bridge there, has been down to one lane for quite a significant amount of time, and it's good to see that that bridge will be replaced, albeit I had hoped for a temporary bridge in the meantime to offset some detours, but nonetheless that bridge is going to be completed, which is good. And hopefully we'll see that continue throughout the province. I know the one in Miramichi has also received a mention, which needs continued work there as well. I remember several years ago the Auditor General had put out a report in relation to the infrastructure around the province, and what she really highlighted was what most New Brunswickers knew, and anyone that travels our roads and bridges, especially bridges, they know the state that they're in. And I remember back in 2018, we had did a press release at one of the bridges out in Fredericton, York, with a former member, Rick DeSaulnier, and I remember the state of that bridge was unbelievable. And we took kind of a walk under to have a look up under the beams and the condition, and it was jaw-dropping. And when I look at the infrastructure around the province, and the Auditor General again had highlighted that, it does show the need that long-term we have to have a plan to ensure our infrastructure gets the required maintenance that it needs. So it is good to see in this report that there's going to be several bridges that are going to receive some repairs and upgrades, and that we can see the infrastructure around the province continue to improve. The courthouse in Fredericton, of course, is long overdue. We need to ensure that there's adequate facilities so that justice can be administered in the Fredericton area. I do have to echo my colleague from Fredericton South to a certain degree, because I was hoping there'd be a little more in relation to flood mitigation. I can think of again the area of Chipman back in the flood that we had in 2018, I believe it was. The Chipman actually became an island. The roads all around Chipman were flooded. There was no way in, no way out, except by rail. And it was a distressing time for a lot of residents there. And I know Chipman's not alone. I know if you go down throughout the St. John River, you can see different communities that were greatly affected by flooding. So I was hoping to see a little more in relation to flood mitigation. And, Mr. Speaker, I don't think it would take a whole lot. Raising the roads in certain areas, offering more drainage in roads in areas that it requires it. Wouldn't take a whole lot in terms of flood mitigation and cost to help ensure that at the very least people can get in and out of their local communities without too much disruption. So, of course, the details are always important when the capital estimates is released. I know there's a couple pilot projects that I had discussed, one in particular with the Minister of Transportation and Infrastructure that I'm hoping is part of this. Various aspects, areas of the province, there's a lot of moose collisions, and anything that can be done to help mitigate those moose collisions is important. So I am hopeful there's something in there in the capital budgets in relation to that. But overall, we have an opportunity here to invest in New Brunswick at a time when it needs it the most, and it's perfectly justified to be able to invest this money to, again, increase the infrastructure and ensure that New Brunswick has sustainable infrastructure long-term, but also to give a boost to the economy. This will employ, as the statement says, 6,500 people approximately, so that is always good, especially during a pandemic and a time when people need work and our economy needs a boost. So overall, the increase is good. As far as I can see, there's no increase to a deficit or not building on our debt per se, which is always important that we have that fine balance between the two. So again, the details will be very important, but as I see it at face value, it looks to be a good capital estimates budget for 2022 and 23, and we'll be watching to see exactly where the money is spent. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.